That bubble tea was so good. Why didn't we try it before? Because the queue is always super long? We should check out amazing fashion before we go home. Do you think the new super secret stuff is out yet? I thought it only comes out tomorrow. Yeah, but sometimes they release stuff early. I heard they have a hoodie that looks like the Shock's costume. Who would wear that? Me? What if it's not out today? We can still go in just to take a look. It's the same thing we've seen 1,000 times before. You never know what new stuff they have, and oh look, they're having a sale! Alright, but make it quick. It's not like we're going to meet the Shock. I will literally die if I meet him. I love the Shock. Chapter 2. Stuck in Traffic. The Shock stirred slowly from his position on the ground and opened his eyes. Even though I had seen him on TV countless times before, his startling quartz blue eyes never failed to catch my attention. He noticed us, and with a groan, the costumed superhero rose gingerly to his feet. He was tall and muscular, but not overly bulky. The large orange diamond emblem across his chest was illuminated under the bright lights of amazing fashion, a reminder of the Shock as a beacon of hope, protector of Diamond City, and a shield for the innocent. He massaged the back of his neck and dusted off fragments of chipped wood from his side-parted orange hair, all the while surveying the damage around him. I glimpsed the gleaming ass braces that covered the full length of his forearms. The Shock's trademark ass braces were famed to be indestructible and impervious to large impacts and sharp weapons, so he had never suffered such a dramatic entrance before. Are the two of you alright? The Shock asked concernedly, stepping towards us. Melanie opened her mouth, but for once, no words came out. I tried to act natural, but it was proving to be a challenge. My best friend and I were just an arm's length away from Diamond City's first superhero and mighty leader of the super secret. I suddenly didn't know where to put my hands, and my eyes darted away from his. Before we could find our voices, a cackle echoed through the now emptied store. And who are the two pretty girls? The strange voice leered. I turned and saw a second costume figure standing some distance away. His ridiculously bright suit spotted flamboyant yellow and red flames, and his eyes were protected by oversized goggles. We recognized him at once. "The Supernova!" Melanie blurted. The Supernova was the first infamous supervillain who went up against the Shock when he tried to rob Diamond West Bank a year ago. They had quite a tussle because of the Supernova's Nova gloves, garish red gloves which somehow increased his strength such that he could punch through walls effortlessly. The Shock eventually outwitted the supervillain and knocked him out, allowing the police to arrest him easily and confiscate the Nova gloves. The Supernova was sentenced to 11 months in Diamond Prison, and it looked like he was now out and back with a vengeance. "Didn't think I could punch that hard, eh?" The Supernova chortled, his high-pitched voice grating my nerves as he addressed the Shock. His confidence level was at 100%, and it took me a few seconds to realize that he wasn't wearing any Nova gloves. "You can punch hard, Supernova," the Shock said, "but you won't win this fight." The Supernova threw his head back to laugh. "I'm not scared of you. Today will be the day I take my revenge on the Shock." "You don't stand a chance," the Shock held his ground. "I already called for backup." "Then why don't I punch you somewhere else?" the Supernova taunted, cracking his knuckles menacingly. I saw both superhero and supervillain gravitate towards each other and knew that it was going to get ugly fast. I tugged at Melanie's arm. "Let's get out of here, now," I hissed. "But I want to see him fight." Melanie shook me off, her eyes glued to the Shock. "It's too dangerous. Just for a minute." The Shock called to us from where he was circling the supernova. "Maybe next time, girls," he said, catching our eye and shooting us his winning smile. "You better get to safety. Nice skirt, by the way." Melanie's eyes sparkled. "Thank you, my name is Melanie Mitchell and I got this skirt from..." The Shock didn't get to hear the rest, taking off in a flash to confront the supernova head-on. The supernova didn't shy back, charging towards the Shock with a maniacal grin. He swung his fist at the Shock, but the superhero stepped out of the way in time, avoiding the attack by mere inches. The supernova continued to attack, swinging wildly at the Shock, who evaded the supernova's punches and struck him with short, sharp jabs. I cheered inwardly when the Shock managed to kick his attacker in the stomach, knocking him backwards into a display. Melanie had frozen, enthralled, and was watching with her mouth agape. My own heart was pounding against my chest in loud rhythmic thumps as I decided what to do. "Let's go!" I successfully yanked Melanie's hand, ignoring my phone, which had been vibrating furiously in my jeans pocket for the past 2 minutes. I knew who it was since it was buzzing in the personalized vibration setting. The phone call and my instincts were compelling me to join the fight, to help the Shock, to do something. But that would mean leaving Melanie alone by herself, and how could I abandon my best friend? "We should have taken a photo with him," Melanie grunted as I dragged her away, surprised by how swiftly she moved in her miniskirt and high heels. A sudden loud crash caused Melanie to jump in shock and wrench her hand away from mine. I whipped around and saw that a huge glass cabinet full of handbags had been smashed into a mess of glass and metal on the ground. The Shock appeared unharmed but was moving guardedly as the supernova heaved another glass cabinet above his head with one hand laughing with frenzied glee. I gasped. The cabinet had to be at least twice as large and heavy as he was, but he hurled it effortlessly towards the Shock like a mere football. It exploded into a plume of shards as the Shock threw himself to the side just in time to avoid it. But the supernova continued his crusade, picking up the next heavy shelf next to him. "This way!" I urged Melanie over the sounds of more furniture being destroyed. "They're wrecking the entire store! Watch out!" But it was too late. Melanie rammed into a fallen clothes rack and lost her balance. "Ow!" she cried, landing painfully on her shoulder. "Come on!" I grabbed her hand and pulled her back onto her feet. "We're almost there!" We finally made it past the broken glass entrance of amazing fashion, where mall security had already cordoned off the area. Paramedics were tending to different groups of people and I heaved a sigh of relief, but Melanie looked flustered. "My phone! I can't find my phone!" she panicked, rooting through the contents of her bag. "It must have fallen out when I..." "Get to a safe place," I interrupted. "I'll get your phone." "But it's too dangerous in there." "I'll be fine, Mels. Catch you later." I spun around before she could respond and vanished into the wreck of a store. The two were still fighting when I headed back, but the supernova's movements were starting to get increasingly reckless. He was screaming something about taking over Diamond City and all the rest of the usual supervillain talk. The Shock dodged every one of the supernova's attacks, satisfying himself with a swift punch or two if he got close enough, but keeping to the defensive on a whole. It wasn't long before I spotted Melanie's phone sparkling from the debris and chucked it safely in my bag. My own phone hadn't stopped vibrating. Making sure that neither of them saw me, I found the nearest shelf that was big enough and ducked behind it. "Okay, Violet, time to save Diamond City." I took one last glance around me before kicking both my sneakers off my feet, a motion that I had perfected from the many private rehearsals at home. My top and jeans went next. Taking a deep breath, I pulled out my superhero costume from my bag and couldn't help but feel a twinge of pride as I slid it into the purple suit emblazoned with two striking green arrows pointing up, the latex clinging to my body like a second skin. I secured the matching purple mask over my eyes, my long black hair hiding the elastic strap that held it against my face. I clipped on my personalized utility belt and thigh holster which held my own special gadget, the K-pistol, a lightweight but sophisticated gun with my initial carved on its handle. Perfect. The sound of more smashed glass nearby and a sharp cry of pain from the shock urged me to move quickly. I rolled up my civilian clothes into a giant sushi, shoved it inside my bag, and placed it on the shelf that I had just used as a makeshift dressing room, making a mental note as to which shelf to come back to when this was over. Gripping the K pistol with both hands, I braced myself and stepped out from my hiding spot, aiming the weapon straight at the supernova. I had expected the supernova to wisecrack about how 2 of the super secret wouldn't be enough to take him down, but all I saw was the supervillain lying lifelessly on the ground, pieces of broken mirrors scattered around him. The shock pulled the supernova's arms behind his back and locked them in a secret cuff, our special brand of handcuffs that were reinforced to withstand more than 10 times the strength of an average human. The shock dusted his hands with a satisfied look on his face as I replaced my K pistol in its holster. I could look straight at the shock now, but I hoped that he wouldn't make the connection between Kulara and the girl whom he just saw a minute ago. He caught sight of me and grinned, reminding me how incredible it was that I was working alongside the shock, the one who inspired me to become a superhero myself. "You're late, Kulara," the shock commented as I approached the scene. "Sorry, stuck in traffic," I said. "Where are the others?" "I only called you," the shock clarified, "but you didn't pick up." "Should have called Lady Damage instead," I said. "I think she comes to Diamond Central Street often. She smells like the perfume shop next door." The shock chuckled. "She's at the secret house with the rest. They're trying out the Mystery's new M pills." "Oh, those are real?" I shuddered. I thought the Mystery was joking. The Mystery? Joking? That would be the day. I couldn't help but laugh. "So why weren't we invited?" "The Mystery said he only made 3 pills so far," the shock explained. "So why them?" "He said their blood was more biologically compatible," the shock replied, kneeling down to examine the unconscious supernova. Whatever that means. His brows furrowed in concentration as he felt along the length of the supernova's arm. "Impossible," he murmured to himself. "What?" "He's not wearing his Nova gloves or any other gadget on his arms." The shock shook his head incredulously. "But his strength was unbelievable. I blocked his punch with my S braces, but he still sent me flying across a whole block. Before you arrived, he was throwing entire shells at me with one hand." He waved at the wrecked cabinets that the supernova had used as missiles, and a grimace of pain flashed across his face as he lowered his arm. "You okay?" I asked concernedly. He scraped my arms with one of his insane throws. He winced as he touched his right bicep. "But it's nothing. I'm okay now. I just couldn't risk getting punched by him again, so I was dodging his attacks instead of blocking them. His strength threw me off, but he doesn't have much when it comes to skill. He got careless like the last time, and I just needed an opening to get close and finish him off." I gestured to the shards littered on the ground. "And you knocked him out with a mirror?" "Hey, a man's greatest enemy is himself, right?" A police siren blasted from the outside, followed by the screeching of tires. A squad of policemen rushed into the building and surrounded us in a circle, pointing their guns at the still unconscious supervillain on the floor. "Another job well done, Super Secret," the squad leader congratulated us. "Get this guy out of here ASAP." He barked at his team. "My wife will kill me if I'm late for dinner again." "Ugh," the supernova sputtered, suddenly shooting up into a sitting position. I had my K pistol aimed at him in a flash while all the guns around him immediately cocked. He took a quick glance around and must have figured out that he didn't stand a chance against all of us, even if he did manage to break free of the secret cuff. He scowled and dropped his head in surrender as the police let him out, their guns still trained on him from all directions. "I'll be back for you again, Shock," the supernova burst out as he was ushered from the building, the same manic expression on his face. He used the super diamond to give me superpowers. He's giving superpowers to all of us. The super secret is doomed. The Shock and I watched in silence as the supervillain disappeared from view. Shop assistants started streaming back into the store, shaking their heads as they saw the immense damage done to the place. The boy with the toy car held his mother's hand as he walked up to us to thank us for saving them. But it was what the boy said after that which disturbed the Shock. Why did the supernova come back? The boy asked, eyes almost welling up in tears. I thought you put him in prison. Is he going to come back again? The Shock got on one knee to meet the boy's eyes, taking a deep breath. The supernova will go to prison again, he answered, where supervillains belong, where they will learn their lesson and become better people. Okay, the boy said uncertainly. The Shock wanted to reassure him, but he had trouble finding the right words. A pair of security guards came to usher the boy and his mother away. There were people taking photos of us from outside the store and news cameras were rolling. Are you okay? I turned to the Shock. Yes, he stood up. Did the supernova say something about a super diamond? Yeah, I replied, pondering for a moment. He said that someone used the super diamond to give him superpowers, but what does that mean? How is it possible to have actual superpowers? His incredible strength wasn't normal at all, the Shock replied, dead serious. He could have killed someone if I hadn't arrived in time. If he's telling the truth, then we have to find this super diamond and take it out of the wrong hands, or I fear Diamond City is in grave danger. Next time, the mystery and his amazing gadgets. And that was chapter 2 of the super secret book by Tian. If you like that story, don't forget to click subscribe for more read-along videos. And the super secret book is also on Instagram, that is at the super secret book, and you can follow them there for more exclusive content and updates. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye!